What do you think of when, I don't know if you saw it, but Alex O'Connor, who we both know had Richard Dawkins on his podcast, and Alex asked about Jordan Peterson, and I think Richard said something to the sense of he impresses by using words that no one can understand, and compared him to Deepak Chopra.
Yeah, I think he said he thinks his talk about God is BS, basically.
Yes, yeah, he did.
I get that. And to be honest, there are sometimes bits of Jordan Peterson when I read it, I think, what exactly are you actually saying here? Modern. He can tend to, perhaps one of his failings is he goes off in a slightly too loquacious a direction or tries to express things in ways. It's one of the failings of Russell Brand as well. He tends to use 10 words where one will do. But I think obviously, Dawkins is just approaches life in a very different way to Peterson. So Dawkins is your classic modern scientist, rationalist, and everything basically boils down to whether you can prove something at some scientific level. I think he is the definition of, a scientific kind of approach to life. And Peterson obviously just sees life in a much wider dimension than that. Imagination, mythology, symbolism, pattern, there's this kind of whole other dimension to life that goes beyond the purely physical and biological that he's interested in. So it's inevitable that Dawkins is going to think he's talking rubbish, because a lot of the time I feel like they're just talking complete cross purposes. And there is something they can kind of agree on. They're both sort of got their concerns over the direction of woke ideology and all that kind of thing. But I think the reason they worry about it are slightly different. Dawkins is concerned about sort of scientific truth being sacrificed on the altar of political correctness or whatever. Jordan Peterson is worried about people's souls being corrupted, basically. He really thinks, I think, at that kind of level about it. It's truth is more than just about making sure you get X and Y genes correctly labeled on people. It's about something much deeper. For Jordan Peterson, I think it's a kind of, there's a spiritual dimension, if you like, to truth telling. And that's, I think, is the difference between Peterson and Dawkins.
Mm-hmm. With these figureheads, I mean, you and I know all of these people quite well, being in the sort of podcast space. I wonder, what do you think the role of new sort of decentralized media has been in the rebirth of belief in God?
I think at one level it's been fantastic because it does allow so many more perspectives to come out, and that's one of the wonderful things about the world of podcast and everywhere is I benefited from that in the 17 and a half years I was hosting the Unbelievable show, where I could have the kinds of conversations with people people couldn't get on the BBC or the mainstream channels, which had once been the only place people could really access that kind of material. So it's been an amazing democratization and everything else. It's obviously got its dangers as well, because with so much content, with it becoming ever more niche, people can get sucked down, rabbit holes that lead them to some sometimes very dangerous places, especially when the algorithms are essentially set up to kind of feed you more and more of the kind of stuff that's lighting up your brain. And we know, we're aware of all the research that shows how people can become radicalized in various ways because of that, either on the left or on the right. They can be religiously radicalized. ISIS, have been able to recruit young people because they were able to hook them into, some particular media streams. Other ideologies have been able to essentially, capture young people's minds in that way. So there's obviously huge dangers as well. So yeah, that's where we are, aren't we? And I think overall, the I'm glad of the internet revolution and the communication revolution it's brought us, but it doesn't sort of mean that I don't know. It's like we're living in an internet age, but with Stone Age minds still, as they say, and we're very bad at actually being able to see through all of the stuff that's there trying to influence us and pull us in various directions. We still kind of, that lizard part of our brain still tends to respond to the clickbait, outrage, stuff that people are so good at kind of capturing our attention with. So I think it's more important than ever in the media age we live in, I suppose this is where I'm landing to, for me, for the Christian story and Christian habits, which involve actually being discerning and, not simply being wedded to your appetites and, being blown this way and that by whatever is in front of you on your screen. It's that Christian discipline of pursuing truth, and the fruits of the Spirit, love, peace, gentleness, self-control, and everything else that are more important than ever in an age where essentially we're kind of increasingly being manipulated, I think, by tech, AI, algorithms, and everything else. Because there was a kind of honeymoon period where it felt like we were genuinely experiencing a kind of a new freedom in the ability to kind of listen to whoever you want to, watch whoever you want to on podcasts and so on. But I think that quickly gave way to Google and Facebook and everyone else essentially, being able to monetize you and being able to kind of, radically influence large swathes of people by simply controlling the kind of thing they were next suggested to click on, basically. So that's the big danger, isn't it? That we have to be ever more mindful of what we're being called to, especially if you call yourself a Christian in an age where you can be so easily swayed in today's culture.